So welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining. Thanks everybody for taking the time to participate this evening. I hope you're enjoying the homecoming festivities so far this week. We're very happy that you're tuning in to watch and hear from our athletics coaches and staff this evening. We've got a great event, some great content for everybody, and some great updates coming from the athletic department. So for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Alex Herron, the Associate Director of Alumni and Parent Engagement on the DeLand campus. Again, thank you for participating in the homecoming activities this week. And I will go ahead and quickly turn it right over to Jeff Altier, our athletic director.
Thank you, Alex. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Altier. I'm athletics director, a class of 82 and 87. It's great to have everybody back and be a part of homecoming. And I'm looking forward to it being more in person as we move forward. What a difference a year makes. If you look back at where we were last year, at this time, we had canceled all sporting events. We had restricted practices, had no travel, no face-to-face activity. We were almost totally shut down. But today, with the experience of last year and vaccinations, we're close to being back to pre-pandemic activity levels. I mean, this year, all of our teams are practicing. They're doing strength training, all with minimal restrictions. I mean, we're not fully back to normal. We still have to conduct COVID tests of the unvaccinated and symptomatic, but rather than doing 600 tests a week, we are doing less than 100. And when we travel on a bus or a plane, everybody has to wear a mask, but everybody has to do that. Our teams are doing it as well. And now the university is increasing the number of spectators allowed at our sporting events. Right now, on campus, we're permitted to have 50% capacity at indoor venues, as long as you're masked, and 75% at outdoor venues without a mask. So for us, the challenge has been to get people to come back and be comfortable with coming to the games. So to help that challenge, we began selling beer last weekend at our football game. And little by little, we think the crowds, and on homecoming this weekend, you're going to be able to buy beer in the stands. Little by little, the crowds are coming back and being a part of the Hatter activity on campus. So far this year, we have played a normal schedule of all games in all sports, with only one exception. Our football game against Drake on October 23rd was canceled due to a COVID outbreak on the Drake team. Otherwise, we have played every scheduled athletic contest this academic year. The return to normalcy is, I can't tell you how important it's been for us. And for athletics, it's been really significant because our athletics program has grown to an incredible size. I mean, we have the same number of teams that we have had pre-pandemic, but our student athlete population has swelled 11% to 508 athletes. The growth in large part driven by the new NCAA rules. You probably all have heard about the NCAA portal. You probably also all heard that the NCAA gave every student athlete competing during a COVID year an extra year of eligibility. So all of that adds up to more and more students coming here and being part of Stetson, but it also adds up to a lot of our student athletes now are pursuing master's degrees as well as undergraduate degrees. For us, the sports that realized most of the growth in this past year has been football. I think Brian at one point had over 130 student athletes involved in that program. Our rowing team now is at over 70 students, and we'll hear more about both of those later. And our baseball team is up to 45 students involved. You know, this growth has been great for Stetson. It helps the university in maintaining the appropriate enrollment, but it also allows us to continue to have that vibrancy and connection to the campus that you want when you're at a collegiate environment. So since last year, what has been new and exciting in the athletic department, easiest one to cite is the success that our men's and women's basketball teams had last year. Both finished with postseason wins, postseason tournament wins, and I will let Donnie and Lynn tell you a little bit more about that later. Several of our Hatter alums shined in professional sports. Donald Payne last spring signed with the San Francisco 49ers. Corey Kluber threw the first no-hitter for the Yankees in decades. Jacob deGrom, prior to being injured, was talked about as being the best pitcher ever in baseball. And Logan Gilbert became a regular starter with the Mariners. And Donald Parham, which I know Brian's going to talk probably about Donald Payne and Parham, caught at least 3 touchdown passes with the Chargers so far this year. And lastly, Patrick Mazeika was on the Mets 40-man roster for most of the year. But speaking of Patrick, this weekend he joined 6 other Hatters that were voted into the Stetson Sports Hall of Fame, which will be recognized at the football game at Saturday. There will be an induction ceremony later in the spring once COVID restrictions are lifted. But those 6 inductees, which will be recognized at the football game, are Stetson's greatest golfer ever in Alessandro Bulo, the most decorated Stetson tennis player of all time, Max Levanovich, Stetson's first national fast pitch All-American, Meredith Owens, an ASUN most valuable player, Victoria McGowan, Stetson's all-time leading scorer for women's basketball, Sasha Sims, and Shanasa Saunders, who is currently coaching for us, but as a player led the Hatters twice to setting the school record for most wins in a season. What a tremendous class of Hall of Fame inductees. And again, they'll be recognized during the football game, but later in the spring, they're going to be formally inducted into the Hall of Fame. On staff, we have had several changes since last year. We hired new head coaches in football, men's golf, rowing, and cheerleading. And our teams have played well as well, with men's soccer probably leading the way with a very strong year. They had 2 wins against top 25 teams, and entering last weekend's final game of the regular season, had a chance to win the regular season title. Unfortunately, they ended up losing in overtime, but now get to go to the conference tournament, which is this weekend, to be able to compete for that conference championship. And trust me, everybody is concerned if they have to match up against the Hatters. Our volleyball team continues to emerge as one of the top contenders in the ASUN, and they are just getting stronger every year. Outside of athletic competitions, we began this year by educating all staff and students on the shared purpose and core values of our department through the HATS program, which is an acronym which stands for Helping a Teammate Succeed. And at the heart of the HATS program is our goal to create and provide an experience of a lifetime through teamwork and relationships to achieve excellence with all of our constituent groups. Last week, on Monday, we finished our fall fundraiser, grossing more than $300,000 in a single week, exceeding last year's total by more than $50,000. From a facility standpoint, we put a new donor-funded scoreboard in at the soccer lacrosse game field, a beautiful addition to that facility. And in the spring, COVID permitting, of course, we will dedicate the Sandy Edger golf practice facility. Also, at the end of the baseball season, in June, we will begin a $6 million renovation on Melching Field at Conrad Park, since we've just extended our lease with the city for 20 more years. The Edmond Center, the building we all remember, received a new basketball court this summer and approval from the university's Board of Trustees to begin an $8.6 million fundraising campaign to modernize the lobby, the chairs, the sound system, and address the ADA accessibility issues. So far, we have $4 million committed for this purpose and are now beginning the public phase of our fundraising. We look forward to you participating with us. So now I want to, that's a lot of different topics. I do want to turn the program over to our coaches, let them introduce themselves and make some remarks. And we're actually going to start that with Jamie Francis, our rowing coach. Then we'll follow with our other coaches as we get started into the meeting. So Jamie, are you available? Jamie, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Somebody must have quieted me down. My name is Jamie Francis. I have been on campus all of about 2.5 weeks. But I came from Embry-Riddle University in Daytona Beach, made the very short commute over, and I've been able to start looking for assistant coaches to fill out the coaching staff and really spend a lot of time getting to know the athletes on the team. We've got about 45 women and about 25 men, to use round numbers. And so that's a lot of faces and names to learn in a relatively quick time. But both teams seem to be excited for what they can achieve this year. They had good showings last year and came up just a little bit short. And so they're all hungry to do more. And I love hungry athletes. That makes me a happy coach. So I'm looking forward to what we can do this spring. We've got one race coming up in the fall. We're going to go to Augusta next weekend, the weekend of the 13th, and do a little bit of competing there. And then when we come back in January, start going full force, getting ready for racing in the spring.
Fantastic. Jamie, thank you very much. Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you. You're not new to Stetson, but you are certainly new as a head football coach. So Brian Young. Brian, you're muted.
I said, first of all, let me tell you, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come back home when I never left. My body wasn't here, but I never moved totally. So I had a chance to come back here and lead this program. It's been very, very exciting for us. At this minute, our team is in the state that it needs to be in as you start to change a culture. Right now, we're 4-4. We're sitting at 500, just coming off a real big win against Presbyterian College this past weekend, where we had a chance to set a couple of team records. We had 20 sacks in the game and a couple of set a record for that kind of thing. But just overall, from the program standpoint, we are excited about this opportunity to help develop these young men and continue producing young men like Donald Payne and Donald Parham. We have 20 states represented on our team from across to expand our brand, and 2 international students. So we're getting the Stetson name out there as we continue to try and develop young men that fits what Stetson is all about. So again, we're excited about having this opportunity to coach this our first homecoming game this weekend as we try to go and get us a winning season. And so one game at a time is what our approach is, and our guys are excited about that. So again, we're excited about an opportunity this Saturday.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian. And we're going to do questions and answers at the end for everybody that can chime in at that point in time. So why don't we go ahead and turn it over to, again, somebody that has been no stranger and is not new to Stetson, has had tremendous success and probably our most successful coach of the last decade, Lynn Bria, head women's basketball coach. Lynn.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Alex, for doing this. And I see some familiar faces. That means I've been here a while. I see some familiar names. So it's good to see everyone. Thank you for joining. In my 14th season, really love being a Hatter. Love homecoming in particular. I think Brown's done an outstanding job. We're so happy you're here and our football coach. So we've had a couple scrimmages. I have a great nucleus coming back from last year. As Jeff said earlier, we did play in a postseason and won. So it was really, really fun. It's fun to see our players, considering the COVID year and what a tough thing that was to navigate through. I know Donnie's probably going to agree with me wholeheartedly about that. You know, we had our 3 best players did decide to opt out, which I do understand that. So I was really proud of the returners that we had. We had 9 on our roster last year, and it was just amazing, those 9 that came together as we played through the season. And it was fun to watch. So having 7 of those 9 back has been fun. I have added, for the first time in my 14 years here, we have 2 graduate transfers, which is the first time that has ever happened. And they have just been immediate impact. Ayanna Dublin came to us from Northeastern, and then Tatiana Stroin came to us from Portland State. We have them 1 year, it's one and done, but these 2 players are going to have significant impact. They are post players. They're big, and they're gonna be really good for us. The maturity level that those kids bring are just unbelievable. So it's been fun to coach them and to watch them. We also had 2 other transfers, one from Toledo, one from Syracuse. I think they're going to be immediate impact as well. So those 4 to go along with the 7 we have. Jemiah Turner, the returner from last year, she just ended up going from about 4 points a game to averaging about 12 points a game by the time we got to the end of the season. She's also just vastly improved. So if I don't mess this group up coaching, we will be all right, I think. So I just got to stay out of their way. That's what I have to do. We played 2 scrimmages. I liked what I saw in those scrimmages. We learned a whole lot. I think for us, we have a lot of players that can do a lot of different things. They have a lot of versatility. So for me as a coach, the challenge has been just figuring out, how to play them, who to play together. So it's a good problem to have, but I haven't totally figured that out yet, to be quite honest. We're still doing that. We're undefeated right now, so I'm very happy. And I think we're going to be able to score some points, and we're gonna press for 40 for as long as we can anyway. So I hope you all come out. We play next Tuesday. I think we play at 5 o'clock before the men. Would love to see everybody out there. And I really appreciate you all being here and the interest that you have in our athletic program. So I think it's going to be an amazing year for our entire department. So go Hatters.
Go Hatters. And for everybody's benefit, I will tell you, last year, I told Lynn Bria and her staff after the season was over, it was the best coaching job. She's had teams that have had more wins, but I have never seen such a tremendous ability to navigate which was such a challenging environment that they had themselves in, and to come away with not only a strong performance at the end of the year, but postseason victories was absolutely incredible. So next, and we're gonna turn over to our final coach for today, which is our men's basketball coach, and Donny Jones joined us. He's in his 3rd year now as the Hatter head coach. And Donnie, I'm gonna let you talk about what happened last year.
Yeah, well, thanks, Jeff. I just want to echo off Lynn, and obviously thanks for having us on here, Alex. This is great. And Brian, congrats to you. It's been fun following you, and the great job you're doing as well. And it seems funny with homecoming and obviously having to do it still online, but we're just thankful to have the chance to get everybody still together here. And I know 2 of my years here for homecoming, both of them have been virtual. So I'm just looking forward to meeting some people here eventually. Hopefully that's next year when we can do that in person. But we'd love to invite you out to come out and see me and Lynn. I think we played 12 games together this year, back to back, which I'm excited about because I get a chance to always cheer her on, but get to cheer her on, in person. So that's going to be fun. So come out and see us, and we'll have homecoming at basketball games this year, hopefully. But I'm excited to be here my 3rd year. We for the first time have some returning guys here. Starting my 3rd year, I got 8 returners. My top 8 are back from last season. Obviously, COVID was a tough year for all of us in every sport, but basketball really was a challenge last year with the way we had to cancel games and play games back to back. And it was almost like coaching a G League pro team sometimes because there wasn't a lot of practice. We just got to play games, and we were thankful for that opportunity when we did. But we had a young team last year, and this year we returned, our top 8 guys, but a lot of them were able to get years back, as Jeff mentioned, due to the NCAA rules. So we still have 9 freshmen and on our team right now, and only 3 sophomores and 1 grad senior, which is Christian Jones, who returned. He had his undergraduate degree in business and working on his MBA. So we were happy to get Christian back. But last year, we were able to rally at the end of the season. We were the only team in our conference to beat everybody at least once in league play. For the 2nd year back-to-back, we beat Liberty, who's been the league champions. And we've matched up against them in the semifinals back-to-back years. We fell short both times, but we've been close to get past them. And hopefully we'll get that opportunity again this year. But we're excited about the year. We open up Tuesday with Lynn. She opens up first, and we play the second game. So we love to have everybody out. Got a great schedule. We jump right in and go to Georgia Tech on Friday in Atlanta. So the alumni that's on here today, we'd love to have you out to the game. Next Friday is where we'll be at Georgia Tech to open up on the road. That'll be a great challenge. They were the ACC champions last year. So we'll get a real good test to see where we're at with our young team. We returned the past 2 years. We've had the ASUN Freshman of the Year back-to-back. We've been in the semifinals back-to-back. Last 2 years, we've been in postseason play, 2 different postseason tournaments for the first time in school history. So I've been taking good notes from Lynn, trying to lay in her shadows and follow her with the incredible job she's done here, and trying to get some men's banners up there with all the ones she's got up there. So we're trying to fill that other side up over there. But we appreciate the opportunity to be a part of that last season. And this year's schedule is fairly challenging. We'll be down to University of Miami as well, playing on December 20th, non-conference wise. And we have a high university and the College of Charleston coming in here. Both those have been NCAA tournament teams. So we played a very difficult non-conference schedule just to get us ready to walk into our league, which this year, during my time here, will be the most challenging ASUN that we've seen. We bring in Eastern Kentucky and Jacksonville State, both won 20+ games in their conference last year with a very talented team coming in. So Liberty will be the favorite coming in again, return a lot of guys. And so it's going to be a battle in the ASUN this year. And we're really looking forward to that challenge. Excited about our freshmen. Got 4 new freshmen coming in here from all over the world, different parts. That we're excited about. That's really going to add some depth for the first time. We could go 8 or 9 deep. We haven't had that luxury the first 2 years, but we're looking forward to it, and we appreciate this opportunity to be on here and share with you all. Looking forward to having you out to the games, and as Jeff mentioned, now we can at least get it halfway packed in there, hopefully, and have some great crowds to come out and cheer us on. So go Hatters! It's great to be with you all. Thank you.
Donnie, and I did want to tell everybody, at least I was excited today. We did get permission to have our pep band come back and start playing at the game. So effective December 1, the Stetson pep band will be playing at all basketball games. And then that will naturally move into the fall. And we expect, if things continue to improve, that we're going to be able to continue to grow that engagement and that atmosphere that is so much fun. Alex, with that, I'm going to turn it to you and let you run the question and answer portion of today's event.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. So if anybody has a question or comment for any of our presenters this evening, you can feel free to drop it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask anybody a question if you'd like. So, and I'll kick it off. I have one. We've done some events this week so far with some faculty as well. And they've spoken about, the resiliency they've seen out of their students in the last 18 months. So I'll kind of put this on all of our coaches and you as well, Jeff, from what you've seen. If anybody wants to speak to, the challenges that, we've all faced, but what you've seen out of your student athletes going from, transitioning to in-person learning, to virtual, to hybrid, back to in-person, coming back to campus, keeping them all safe, but still being able to build relationships within the team. Just if anybody can speak on the resiliency of your student athletes throughout the last 18 months.
Well, Alex, I'm happy to kick it off, but then I want to turn to the coaches because they're the ones that have really seen and lived this. The resiliency has been incredible with our student athletes. I mean, from the start where we were sticking Q-tips up to their brain to figure out if they had COVID or not, and everything else that we put them through, wearing masks at every moment. When we first started back, we were wearing masks during athletic activity, and we were temperature checking everybody. We were screening everybody before every event, and it creates all kinds of tension and anxiety for everybody. I mean, we weren't able to conduct games, or when we did conduct games, we had 10 people at a basketball game because that's all we permitted into the gym. but yet the students, they do what they love to do, which is compete. And when we got them back on the floor, in the football field or out in a boat, and they were able to compete, it was what they wanted to do and what they had strived for and worked for. I think in large part, that's why our athletic population has grown 11%. I think because we have done so much to make sure that our students get these opportunities, and we work hard to put them in that position to succeed. But they also are able to do it in a way that they feel safe. So coaches, I don't know if anybody had any comment that you wanted to make on that, but it's been an incredible experience for me.
I could say a little bit, just having the opportunity to meet in person with our guys when we have our meetings has played a tremendous role in our continuity and our team camaraderie, and just being able to get our kids playing as one. I think during the COVID period when I was not here, the culture was a little fractured because they were not able to meet in person. You didn't have that one-on-one touch, and just having to have meetings through Zoom played a tremendous part, and it shows on the field. And so the opportunity that we have now to be able to meet in person has somewhat helped our culture and our bringing our team together.
Yeah, I would echo that, Brian. I think for us, especially coaching young women, just not being able to be together and have group events was really challenging. Not only, getting poked in the nose 2 or 3 times a week was challenging, but I think just not being able to be together and have team functions and be, that was really, that was challenging. And I think the other thing people forget about is, you have other injuries too. So we have sprained ankles, we have concussions, so there was those challenges as well, and I think, one of the beauty about coaching 18 to 22-year-olds, that's why they're my favorite group, is because they are flexible, they adapt. And I can't say enough about all of our players and how they did that.
I'll just jump in off Brian and Lynn. I think the biggest thing is I echo what both of them are saying. I think happiness was a big focus for us. I just seen the mental health for some of these kids, what they had to go through from quarantine to being away from their teammates, freshmen walking in the door, which I had 6 of them, their first time to college, and we're telling them to stay away from each other instead of being together. And I think it was a year of the unknown and the unexpected, but we always say, don't let the opportunity to waste a good crisis, right? So, I think we really rallied together as a staff. Jeff, you did a great job leading our group and our coaches. I think all of us coaches come together, we adapted, we adjusted. I think we grew closer from it, our team did. And now we really cherished every day to a different level, I think, than ever before as we get these opportunities now.
Absolutely. Thank you all for your answers. And Jamie, I know you're new, but there is one for you. And the way you answer this question might determine how much support you get from alumni moving forward. I'm just kidding. But
well, I'm open for you texting me the correct answer.
So the first part, what drew you or sold you on Stetson? And then what has been your favorite part about being at Stetson so far?
Because I have been coaching in the same county, I've been familiar with Stetson in that regard. And even 20 years ago, when I started coaching at the high school level, I actually came to Stetson to get my U.S. rowing certification. So I have been familiar with the university on the periphery for a while, but when I started coaching in Embry-Riddle and I was familiar with the coaching staff that was here, we would have very open and honest conversations about the progress that the program had been making, because whenever I started at Embry-Riddle, Stetson was rowing out of a greenhouse. And I mean that in the most arcane way. It was 2x4s with plastic sheeting to keep the elements out as best you can with plastic sheeting. And seeing the support that the university has had and the athletic department has had towards the program and building the Stetson Aquatic Center and filling it with boats, to me, that's a very appealing thing as a rowing coach, is to have enough equipment to support the athletes that you're bringing in, and really knowing that the department has your back. My favorite thing so far has actually just been getting to know the kids. I started this week with individual meetings, and there are some, and really they're only scheduled to take 15 or 20 minutes, and some of them take 15 or 20 minutes, but most of them are running past that just because we're taking the opportunity to get to know each other. And I think sometimes we lose sight that we are in the people business, and being able to for me, to be able to pour into their lives and help them to really kind of navigate into the real world and be successful in that. That's really the best part about being here so far.
Definitely. And had a great comment come in, Jamie. I know you're in the car, but this one came in from Laura, who's on. She said, I was part of the club before it was a sport, before the greenhouse back in the day.
So Laura, I actually remember those days, and I remember them well. And what we have now, as you know, is an unbelievable step up. Before we went on, though, I did want to just share with the group that we're here. Jamie, we hired Jamie at the beginning of October, and he started work with us, and then went back to work for Embry-Riddle for a very brief period of time, because he had made a commitment to them that he would take their team, he would drive the truck and the trailers up to the head of the Charles, I believe it was. It was 3 days up there for the race, 3 days back. And he made that commitment to them before we hired him, and he wanted to fulfill that. It's the type of person that we look for. I look for people of character. I think it was a tremendous move. He wanted to start with us, but he felt he obligated to complete that assignment before he took the job with us. And that's the type of person. So I'm very happy that we've got Jamie on our staff right now, and Laura, and all of our alums with rowing. You're going to want to get to know him as quickly as possible.
Excellent. Excellent. I had another good question come in here in the chat. So we know the football team regularly makes trips to San Diego. Are there any future plans for either basketball programs to come to Southern California or the Los Angeles area?
Yes, we hope to do that. I have a kid on my team. It's a freshman who's from San Diego, and his name is Alex Crawford, and he was the state champion there, first team All-City, MVP of the state championship there in California, and was recruited by all those schools in the West Coast. And his AAU coach is a guy named Keenan Allen, who is a pretty good football player, plays for the Chargers, a wide receiver, top 3 player in the NFL. So we will be back there at some point. I'm not sure, but pay attention and watch our schedule, because we'll be coming that way as soon as we can fly that far away.
Yeah, we have not been out there since I've been the coach here. So that is probably something we need to do. So and something I'd like to do. Our players have expressed some interest in going out to California, and so probably in the future that could be a possibility for us.
Excellent. And another one here in the chat for everyone. Everybody can chime in on this one. How has it been recruiting throughout the past year and a half, and what challenges have you all faced there?
Yeah, well, I'll go first on that one. The recruiting for us was really different because we couldn't have any campus visits. And so what I have found, and I don't know, is every player we brought in seven new players, and they actually get along. It's probably one of the closest teams I've ever had, and not one of those players took a campus visit. It's really interesting. It's almost like, the old marriages where the parents would set up the marriage. We just kind of recruited kids that we thought our kids would like and that we liked. And I mean, we loved them as players, but we also thought, they fit into our culture. We think our players are going to like them too. And basically, our players are very, very close. But we weren't sure how that was going to work out. We had no idea because we really couldn't do campus visits. Now, 2 of these transfers that we got, we had recruited them out of high school. So we really knew what we were getting. We had met them in person in previous years and that type thing. So that always helps. But I really think culture-wise, it's been a really, really good fit for us. But that was so different. I know Jeff liked it because it saved us a ton of money. we didn't have to bring kids on, and it just saved a ton of money. We didn't have to go there and watch them. So there were some perks about COVID, if you could call it that.
Yeah, we don't want you to get comfortable with that, Jeff. Nobody else could recruit across.
Exactly. That's right. Because he will. He'll say, well, since you did such a good job, just don't bring him in. Just guess, you know?
Absolutely. Well, it was the same for me. I had 4 freshmen walk in, and first time I met them, I was waiting on campus when they came with their parents this summer for summer school. So that was their official visit, was summer school. And so it was all these kids. I've been coaching 30 plus years, and never have I been to a coaching clinic where they taught me how to coach in a pandemic, and learning how to use virtual and Zoom here right now. It's become the way of communication for the future as well. So you have to adjust to what the situation is, and our staff did, and we had a chance to really connect with some great kids. That's why one of the kids I got was Alex Crawford from San Diego. We spent a lot of time on the Zoom together, but he never had to fly all the way from the West Coast to be here on a visit, but his family's been here twice. They love it here. And so it's been an interesting process here, and we've gotten some great kids from it.
And with me getting hired late because Jeff took so long to make this decision to hurry up and get me in here, I had to play off what we already have at this minute, and that is we got to get some offensive linemen. So any of you alums that can play offensive line, we got free tryouts going, open tryouts going. So that's where we are at this minute. It's an ongoing deal at this minute. Like that, Jeff.
Brian?
Yes.
I still have my 4 years.
There you go.
Hey, Alex, I think my girl Rena had a question up there that we missed. I think she put a question in the chat.
Yes, she had a great
You got it?
question,
Okay, you
too.
got it? Okay, I just want to make sure you
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah, and let me piggyback off this, Rena, if you don't mind, and I'll get to yours next. Amanda had a good one to piggyback off of the recruiting. How has recruiting been, considering high school athletes may have sat out 1 or 2 or more seasons now going on?
All right, that one I can take. I've been here long enough to take that one. Especially for rowing, because I've got kids who have played basketball, my own children who've played basketball, and my son thinks someday he wants to play football. So you guys keep your ears out. But with rowing, they don't usually start until they're in high school anyway. And so to get a late start in their development and then miss a year or 2, you really have to rely more on the personality of the kid to make sure that they're the kind of person that you want to hang out with for 4 years, and hope that they've got the basics from the physiology to be able to build on. But I think it just drives it home more that you really got to make sure you're getting to know the athletes, and that they're going to be a good fit for what you're trying to do.
Well, high school for us, a lot of kids went to prep school that didn't get the schools that they wanted coming out of high school. So they went to prep school, and the transfer portal was was big for me and Lynn, to the aspect that the NCAA really made it difficult by opening it up to let kids transfer anywhere and be eligible immediately without setting out. So it makes it even harder that you went through a pandemic and not being able to treat your kids exactly the way you would want to treat them all. With things you couldn't control, and then you had to try to rally and keep your kids at the end. So every year is a challenge now, especially for these high school kids, because now they have to compete with the transfer portal. And some of the junior college kids went back for a 3rd year. So I know even in junior college and prep school, those are very full places right now to be able to get kids. There's some really good players who are now at prep schools because they did not get the schools they wanted, because the transfer portal took over a lot of the big schools, and a lot of good players were left with nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think the class of 21 and maybe even some of the 22s really, that's a tough situation, because we didn't have any scholarships, where the players got to come back. So I think, and then when they did open the transfer portal, we didn't, typically you have a lot more scholarships, and we didn't have that this past year. So I think a lot of those kids just really got stuck, and a lot of them that would have gotten something didn't get anything, or maybe they had to go junior college or something of that nature.
Definitely. And Rena, you did put a great question in the chat. and this is again for the entire group, how is it having a president who was himself a student athlete, and has he been able to engage with your athletes?
Well, he keeps telling me he's got an incredible jumper. Every time I see him, he brags about it, but I haven't seen that jumper not one time. I told him I wanted to check it out. I was hoping he'd be on here so I could give him a hard time again, so he's been fun. I think it's been great having a president that's played sports, and obviously I'm biased to basketball. Sorry, Brian. So I'm anxious to check out his jumper. He has engaged with some of our student athletes. He's requested actually come to a practice. So I told him once he gets to the practice, I am going to check out the jumper and see. He swears he's got it. So he and my assistant, Coach Barbara Ferris. Barbara played in the WNBA. She's about 6'3", 6'4". I mean, I think she has him by about a couple of inches or so, and he's challenged her. So she's ready. She's ready for him. She's been working out, actually. I think she's been practicing up. But it's fun having him. I love his energy. I love his passion, and I love his support for us. So that's been. It's just and again, Dr. Wendy Libby. It's hard to replace her. She was the same way. They're different, but they're the same as far as great support and their enthusiasm. And the other thing those two have in common is they are fierce competitors, without a doubt. Our president number 9, our president number 10, fierce competitors, clearly.
So true, Lynn. I'll jump on that. I've seen President Roki's jump shot in a picture. I don't know if the ball went in any of those pictures. He says it does, but I saw the pictures. But I know he loves.
I don't think he's ever missed a shot. I don't think he's ever missed one, according to him. Now I don't know, but that's what it seems like.
Yeah, I know it is coming. Live. But he's wanting to get a faculty and student game. That could be alumni game even. Also, but obviously he loves sports, and obviously he's been a part of it. So that's great for all of us, because he's walked in those shoes and understands what it is to be a student athlete and the impact athletes can have, obviously, on this campus as well. But his energy's been great. He's a big cheerleader at the games, and obviously does a great job supporting us. So we're excited about having him.
I agree with that. Once we get him to figure out the difference between a screen pass and a jump shot, would be awesome. He came out to practice and brought some enthusiasm. So we've been excited about that.
So I will tell you also that President Rolke's thrill of his life, he told me, was when he was shagging balls and trying to bat a hit against Jacob deGrom. So he'd come down to the field while Jacob was working out and got a chance to interact with him and Patrick Mazika and other members of our Hatters teams that are in the pros. So he is a sport nut, and he cannot sit still for 30 seconds at a basketball game. If you're around him, be prepared to duck too. So he's great. He's fun to be with.
And not to pile on President Roke too much, but since he's not here, I'll say he might have, or say he has such a good jump shot, because he always tells me no one's allowed to come within 10 feet of the president on the court. So that must be why he has such a good jump shot. But yes, Debbie, you're right. That sounds like a challenge is coming for Chris on the basketball court. He's going to have to get himself out there and prove it to us. All right, we've had some great questions and great conversation throughout. If anybody has any final questions for anybody in the group, feel free to, again, drop those in the chat or unmute yourself if you'd like.
I want to thank all the coaches and Jeff for y'all having us. This has been great to get going and have a good homecoming week, and looking forward to the game on Saturday.
Thanks, Debbie.
Debbie, it's not homecoming unless you're here, so I hope to see you on the gate at the gate.
I will be there. I will be there in my green and white, of course, and my hat. We got to beat Dayton. I sent Brian a note. That's where I went my first 2 years before I transferred to Stetson, and that's my brother's alma mater. So we got to beat those Flyers.
Stay close to me, because I might need you on Saturday.
I don't know. Gotta get my knee braces ready, Brian.
Well, I want to say thank you to Coach Lynn and to Coach Donnie. Thank you so much. And when I was there in '84, we didn't have a football team. So homecoming was based around basketball. So Donnie, you can bring it back. Lynn, you guys.
Yeah, there was homecoming
Right,
part
that's right.
two and during basketball season. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's right, Angela. Good to see you. That's awesome.
Well, again, I do want to thank you all for tuning in tonight and participating, and a huge thank you to Jeff, Donnie, Lynn, Brian, Jamie. Welcome to Stetson. We're so glad that you are here and a part of the Hatter family now. Thank you to Stacy for helping put this together as well. I appreciate all of you and all the great things you do for Stetson and for our students. You all are tremendous advocates for this university, and we're very, very lucky to have you all as part of this university, and we thank you.
Mhm. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Go Hatters.
Thank you.
Go Hatters.
Go Hatters. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alex.